In this XSO's football video breakdown, we're going to take a look at a blitz out of the quarter 137 that's called inside blitz. And with this particular defense, we're actually going to look to get pressure from the free safety. Now, as you notice, the free safety is actually dropping back in deep coverage over to deep middle. So this is actually a cover one defense. I know what you guys are thinking, Cobra, how we're going to get pressure with the defense, or from this guy, in particular the free safety, when he's dropping back in pass coverage. Well, what we're going to wind up doing is actually hot routing him to blitz. But before we do that, let's take a look at the pass coverages and the pass rush as far as the assignments go. And if you notice, what we wind up having is these guys right here, all in man coverage. We have 5 defenders in man coverage, and then we wind up having 5 defenders rushing the quarterback, and these are the 5 defenders that are rushing the quarterback as you look at it. So you can see all 5 of those guys are coming after the quarterback. Now, if you were to run this play as is, you're probably not going to get a lot of pressure unless one of the defenders was able to break loose and get after the quarterback. So to go ahead and get the pressure, what we need to do is we need to go ahead and do this. We need to go ahead and call bump and run man coverage. And that's going to bring those 2 corners on the outside closer to the line of scrimmage press. It's going to wind up bringing the defensive backs down closer as well. So now we wind up having press coverage on the outside, plus the slot receivers being jammed by the defensive back 1. Now, as far as the setup goes, the rest of it, what we're going to wind up doing is we're going to wind up taking control of the free safety, and we're going to bring him into this area here, and then we want to go ahead and re-hot route him to blitz. Now, let me just tell you something about this particular blitz. You're going to look to get pressure from 1 or 2 guys. Generally, we're looking to get pressure from the free safety, who's going to wind up shooting through that B gap between the left guard and left tackle. Or we can also get pressure coming from the defensive back, which is going to be lined up over here. In this case, it's defensive back 1. He might shoot right in this gap here between the B gap between the right guard and right tackle. So we're looking to get pressure coming from somebody as far as those 2 defenders, as far as applying pressure on the quarterback. So let's go ahead and take a look at the defense and see what happens with this particular one. And I want you guys just to go ahead and watch and see what kind of pressure that we wind up getting. You can see in that case it winds up coming from that left defensive back, or I believe it's actually a dime back 2. It actually winds up getting the pressure, and he winds up shooting through that B gap. So generally it's either going to come from him, or it's going to wind up coming from that free safety, depending on how the offensive line and who they decide to go block, which makes this defense kind of nice because you could get pressure coming from one side or the other with it as far as putting pressure on the quarterback. Let's look at it from the top-down view here, and you'll get an idea, but a little bit better how this one works. And like I said, it could go either way with this one. From whenever I've ran it, it's not always the same defenders getting the pressure. So it either comes from one of those 2 different guys. So as you look at it from the top-down view, you kind of see what winds up happening here. The left guard actually looks to block in this area here. And then if we look over here, just kind of work our way across the rest of the way. The left tackle is looking to block here. And then you wind up having the center. Now he's going to wind up blocking that nose tackle. And then the right guard, he's going to wind up committing towards the linebacker. And then over here, we wind up having this guy here, which happens to be the right tackle. He's going to go ahead and block that left end. This is going to allow us to go ahead and get that pressure as this guy comes around, his defensive back 2. He winds up coming up the gut through the B gap and applying the pressure right there. So you can kind of see how that winds up working there as far as getting the pressure. So definitely a defense that you can use to go ahead and get the pressure. The downside of it, of course, as you look at it, if those receivers are able to get off the line of scrimmage before the pressure actually gets to the quarterback, then you could have some issues. So one of the things you may consider with this defense, if you're going to set it up, you may want to try to make sure you have a free safety that's blitzing who's fast, and also a defensive back 2 who's fast. If you can go ahead and sub some guys in there as far as making sure you got fast defenders coming after the quarterback, and that's going to allow you to have a better chance at it. So let's go ahead and take a look at it against the shotgun formation, because it also works against shotgun as well. So let's go ahead and run it against the shotgun. Plus, it'll give me a chance to show you how fast this defense actually can be as far as setting it up. Rather than me just going ahead and just talking, I can actually show it to you guys real quick. So let's go back in here. And keep in mind, we're sending everybody out as far as on the offensive side of the ball. So all the receivers were going out. So really, here's the setup. We're going to call bump and run. We just go ahead and take control of this guy. And then we're just going to go ahead and bring him into this area here. And that's it as far as the setup goes. Really not a whole lot to it. And then we get up with the same pressure again coming from the defensive back 2, winds up coming up the gut and applying pressure. So it's either going to come from the free safety or it's going to come from that defensive back 2. I realize you're seeing the pressure right now coming from the defensive back 2, but it may come from the other guy as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at one last thing here while we're in here. Let's go back and instant replay. And I want to point out one last thing. If this guy right here, which is the halfback, if he stays in the pass block in this area here, he's going to probably wind up picking up that pressure as this guy comes in through that B gap in this area here. He's going to probably wind up picking him up. Now, on the other hand, if this free safety winds up getting pressure and coming through the B gap, then there's a good chance that wind up getting pressure anyways, because he won't get blocked. Generally, what will wind up happening is this back will actually look to block over here, and you'll still wind up getting the pressure on it. So it's definitely a defense worth taking a look at as far as bringing pressure for those of you guys looking for something out of the quarter 137. Also want to remind you guys the quarter normal inside blitz works exact same thing, no different as far as the setup. Just bring that free safety down, go ahead and hot route them, and you'll probably wind up getting the same type of pressure. So this defense is called quarter 137 inside blitz.